Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about how to write your copy to make your marketing way easier with a simple system that I have. So I think today's going to be a hit. And we're going to talk about first and foremost, why inconsistency is costing you coaching clients. Then we're going to talk about how to write to different types of audiences. That is a very simple system that I have that is really going to have you thinking about the way you're writing really differently so you can convert more people from social media into your actual programs. And then last but not least, we're also going to talk about what prompts you specifically can use starting this week to make your marketing so much easier. So, with that being said, let's get into it. So, first and foremost, one of the things that I think is really important to think about as you are running these amazing businesses of yours is how to keep things consistent. When you market your business more consistently and have a message going out every single week, there was a study done that said you are on average 50% more likely to sign clients. So I'm all about creating a statistically inevitable business that is going to help you to help more people. And knowing that, that is really important when we're thinking about creating a business that people want to work with. And actually, I just got back from Rome. It was an incredible trip with some amazing coaching friends, and we had the best time. We were masterminding, we were thinking about our businesses in different ways. And one of the reasons why I was able to go on this trip to Rome randomly within the week and not miss a mark with my social media marketing is because I have this system in place and a way to think about it. So for you, I want you to think about, okay, if I know that marketing is going to create more clients for me, and if I'm consistent, it's going to help me, we need to figure out a system, a little way for you to create more people and bring in more clients using the marketing that you have. And for me, I like to think about that within social media. Now, these rules apply to if you have a podcast as well, if you have an email list, all of these same rules apply. And I'll talk about how I kind of switch things around based on different platforms as well. So, if we're thinking about consistency, I want you to think about the reasons why people sign up to work with you. Within marketing, there's a philosophy that talks about the know, getting to know you, KNOW, the like factor, whether people actually like you and feel like what you're saying is valuable and helpful, and whether people trust you or not, whether or not you are actually creating proof of concept that makes people want to buy. And one of the things that I have found is that I will look at a lot of your social media, and of course, dive into it and with anyone I work with, and I'm looking at it and I'm not seeing much variety and I'm also not seeing much consistency. One of the things that as Rob and I are planning our wedding, I am actually right after this, we're going to be speaking to a wedding planner. And you'd better believe for every single one of those planners that we're interviewing, I looked back at their social media to see if it's relevant. Think about how much you change within a couple of months. Think about how much you change probably week to week. It feels like explosive growth. And if you're not sharing on social media, then it makes me already have a layer of where I'm like, is this person, if this person isn't showing up consistently on social media, a place where I'm learning about them and seeing if it's a good fit to work with, how are they going to show up when I'm paying them? You know what I mean? It already plants the seed that, ooh, they're missing the mark in some areas. I am not sure if I want to work with them. And I never, ever, ever want to give a person a reason not to trust you because I kn- you didn't start your business to be a social media manager. However, I do know that that is going to impact your ability to serve and help your clients. So I want you to think about that. It's really important that we create a system so that you can crank out marketing even when things aren't going well. Like, for instance, when I came back from Rome, I was sick, and I wanted to still make sure that I was getting my marketing out there, that I had a way for me to create value for my clients. And I still had the marketing going out there even when I was sick. And I want you to think about, okay, what can I do to make my business and my marketing something that is life proof, something that will keep me consistent, and something like when unexpected things happen, like getting sick, or even expected things when you have family coming to visit or things like that, that you are actually staying consistent. So I want you to think about that first and just the importance of it when you're thinking about scaling your business to your first six figures or multiple six figures. So for me, I also wanted to make sure that I was making my marketing really easy. And this is the next piece I wanted to talk to you about in this podcast. It's how to write your content in a different way. So you're differentiating your content so that you can actually convert more clients. Because that's the whole point of it. It's to not just to be the billboard of your business, the face of your business, but its role is to actually convert more clients. So here's the way that I think about my marketing in three different subsets. I think about the different types of my audience, and I write posts addressing each different subset of my audience. So I want you to think about first and foremost that your business, you might have heard of a sales funnel before. And all that means is that you've got a triangle with a point at the bottom, and you've got people that are finding you and they just like might have stumbled across your page. Maybe they Googled you. Maybe they saw a reel of yours on Instagram. Maybe they looked up life coaches on LinkedIn and they found you. But there is some way that people see you and they see you at the very beginning, and we want to get them to convert to actual paying clients. So we want to get them to buy in, we want to get them to opt in so that you can actually work with these humans. So what I have found is that when I'm doing my marketing, and especially at the beginning, before I knew about this different types of my audience, I would just be writing helpful hints all the time. I would be saying, okay, like, here's some tips for time management. Here's some tips for burnout. Here's some tips to help you build more confidence. Here's some tips for work life balance. And it was very sporadic. And it was really only like giving information. So, of course, people loved it. They were like, this is very helpful. I'm finding a lot of value in it. I am getting something that's helpful. But what I didn't realize is that my audience wasn't just filled with people who wanted to get to know me and like my content. I also had newbies that were coming in that had never ever met me before, didn't know my personal story, didn't know anything about me that I wasn't addressing at all. They didn't know me as a person. And I needed to speak to that more in my marketing. I also didn't realize that there were people that were like, I'm right on the verge of working with you, Megs. I really like what you have to say. But I also wasn't giving them that next just incentive, that motivation, helping them feel compelled to take action, to take the next step in my sales process, which would either be a consult or just signing up to work with me right away. So, what I had to do is I had to think about that same concept that I mentioned previously, the three subsets of your audience in three subsets of your audience. So, when we're talking about the know, like, and trust factor, KNOW, getting to know you, liking you, and trusting you, I realized that there were different types of ways to write to get people to know me, like me, and trust me. So, what I think about when I'm doing my marketing and the system that I have in place is for my like, my first piece of content for the week. I am sharing about my cold personal story. I am giving some anecdotes that make me seem inspirational or aspirational for my ideal clients. So I'll share about things where I'm like, 5 years ago, I never thought this was possible. Just think about where you'll be 5 years from now. Thinking about how, if you take action now, think about how different your life is going to be when you invest in working with me as a life coach or as another type of service provider. And I want you to think about that is a huge, huge subset of your audience that needs to get to know you a little bit better. They want to hear your story being expressed. They want to be excited. They want to feel like they are on the journey with you. And what I found is that a lot of people who are coaches, they don't even share their personal story. Like I was talking with one of my clients who is a sobriety coach, and we were talking about how she never shared about like her journey of first becoming sober. And I'm like, well, that's pretty important. People want to hear that. And what I found was when I talk with my cold leads, I think about my audience in cold, warm, and hot leads based on the no, they're getting to know me. That's the cold leads. They're getting to like me. Those are the warm leads. And then the hot leads are just needing that little bit to trust me and they're moving forward. So what I found is that a lot of my clients, they won't share for those cold leads. And then it kind of, especially when you're sharing about information and you're trying to, especially like as a coach, when you're providing information, it can make your audience feel weird. They are going to feel like, oh, like Megan is trying to feel like she knows it all. She's not relatable. I don't feel like we're really on the same page. It's almost like that, like, pedestal, like sagey energy that just isn't compelling for someone to take action and actually work with you. They need to at least relate to you a little bit. They need to hear about your personal story and about why this is important to you. Like for me, when I'm thinking about why I needed these three types of audiences to really hone my marketing in, I used to just write to the warm. I used to just give tips and tricks. And it was really isolating and polarizing content that, not in a good way, something that was like making people feel ostracized and not wanting to work with me. So it's really, really important that you are sharing your story here. You also might have heard of like the hero's journey, where you're speaking about, okay, this is somebody who is really excited. They are really ready to, they want to see themselves in you. So, how can you share pieces of your story in a way that is relatable, that is inspirational or aspirational? So that's the first piece of content I write for the week. And I take that messaging and I repurpose it for a reel. So I'll write a big long post about my story and then I will do repurpose like 4 sentences of that and I make that a reel. I also repurpose that for my LinkedIn post. I repurpose that for my email. I do a combo of the warm and cold post of the week. And then I include a testimonial at the bottom. So it's a way that I can hit all three in one email for the week. And so I want you to think about, okay, how is my story, and this comes into like the prompts that I want you to think about, is what is a piece of my story that is inspirational or aspirational, something that people would aspire to be like me, or something that's relatable, someone that's like, okay, this is the struggle that I've experienced too, so that they feel like they're on the same page as you and you're just a couple steps ahead. So that's the first piece. You want to be writing your content to address cold, warm, and hot leads. That's the cold piece. The second piece, you want to be thinking about your audience in the warm leads. Now, this is the thing I see most of my clients and my coaches that are pretty much doing only warm leads. This is where you share something like 3 steps. This is something that's like a mini transformation. It's planting the seed. You could give data points and something that's like I shared at the beginning. I was talking about how 50% of people are more likely to buy when your marketing is consistent. That's something that's valuable, something that like people are like, oh, this is helpful. Now, many of my clients will think about, okay, Megan, I don't actually like have any worksheets that I give my clients. I don't have any like anything specific that I do with them. How can I write a post about that? And what I like to think about is I like to think about like maybe you don't have any worksheets, nothing that like people are actually doing behind the scenes, but you are talking your clients through a process. And I want you to think about this being a mini, mini, mini transformation. This isn't something that's a big, long post. This is just a small, small post that helps them to see a little bit more clearly. Oh, this person could help me. Like, I kind of want to work with this person. I am hearing what they have to say, and it is valuable. It is creating a mini transformation for me. And it's something that I could see myself applying as time goes on. So that's what you want to do for your warm leads is you want to think about like tips, a just little things, a quiz, something that can get people interacting with you as well. That is going to help build the like factor. They're going to like you more when you are giving them free stuff that's valuable. The other benefit of this is if you're having conversations with people, if you're building those relationships in their DMs, what happens is then you can be like, oh, hey, you're struggling with like not knowing what to post. Let me send you this post all about like different types of leads and what to write about. And then get excited. They're like, oh, wow, this is a really well-resourced person. This is someone that I can see is already helping me on my journey before we even work together, before we even pay. So that is another thing I want you to think about. And then last but not least, we have the hot leads. These these are people that need to trust you. They need to get excited. These are, if we're thinking about the psychology behind somebody who's buying, they need to see someone that's the amicable buyers. It's like the psychology of sales. They need to see testimonials. They need to see that you actually get results. I have so many of my clients that I go on their page and they're like, "Yeah, I don't know why people aren't booking a consult. I've been creating content even consistently and no one is booking." Here's why. They don't believe you. They need to see that this doesn't just work for you, it actually works for other people too. And one of the things that I do is I'll ask my clients after I've seen a win for them to do a quick little video, and I don't wait until the end. A lot of people wait until the very end to share about their clients' results, and then you kind of lose an opportunity to reach back out with them. And the way that I ask my clients is I'll say, "Hey, I am so proud of you. This is an amazing result. And I know that it's like it would be so helpful for other people to see this as well. If you don't mind doing a quick video, there's no pressure to, but I would really, really appreciate it so that other people can see that you do get results when you work with me." And that's typically how I ask people. In fact, if you want to see my whole system for creating emails, in the show notes, I've got my testimonial template and you can go ahead and download it, start sending it to your clients. But I have found that when I started differentiating my content and I was actually speaking to those different types of audiences, I actually started to get more coaching clients because more people were hearing what I had to say and they were in different pots and it moved them right along. They're like, oh, I had no idea Megan was experiencing this. Oh, wow, this is some really valuable content. Oh, now I'm seeing that this worked for X, Y, and Z people. And I know this will work for me too. So with those hot leads, with those testimonials as well, if you haven't worked, if let's say you don't have your clients feel weird about providing testimonials. Like for instance, one of my clients is an intimacy coach and they don't always feel like super forthcoming about like, hey, this is something I struggled with. It's great, or any clients that are working with coaches who are overeating or things like that, not necessarily something that they're always like, yes, I can't wait to share this publicly for other people to see. So, a lot of times, what I will do is I will have them write up a little something and I just ask them, are they comfortable with me sharing their name? Do they want me to share a picture? And if not, I'll just share in my hot post and be like, hey, this is something that worked for this client. It was amazing. I know that you are like this client, and there are so many other ways that I could support you. I would love for you to book a consult and talk about how six-figure systems can help grow your business. But do you see how I'm not even talking about a client? It could just be on a coaching call where I'm just hearing about something and I'm like, oh, this is a perfect post. And so I'll write those down and I have a bank of all these ideas that I can pull from. So when I'm feeling less than stellar and have a cold or or I'm traveling, I have all of these ideas in a bank that I just pull from. So I'm going to go ahead thinking about how you can differentiate your posts starting this week. Like, if you haven't, especially if you haven't posted testimonials, I really want you to start doing that as soon as possible because it's going to be the difference maker between people being like, oh, that's a cool, like, I know you've got a business. I'm loving things that you're posting, to being like, I want to buy from you. Please, like, let me throw money at you. That is the kind of energy I want you guys to be thinking about as well. So, here are some prompts. When you are thinking about your cold leads, I want you to think about, okay, what is something that I teach my clients? How is this something that is really going to help them, that is inspirational? What are the pieces of my story that are aspirational? And inspirational meaning they have belief in themselves. Aspirational meaning that they want to be like you, something that you have created a victory for, or something that is relatable. I want you to think about those things and I want you to make a list of all of the things that you feel are really key parts of your story, things that you help your clients with that would be exciting. Now, for me, I talk a lot about travel here. I also make my content that's related to that because I'm really trying to like bring home the message that like when you work with me, you will create work-life balance to live your best life, whatever that is. You can also think about the version of this, the purpose of it is to grow your audience and for more people to get to know you as this leader in your industry. You can also think about how sharing a topic like this has changed your life. You can think about, like, okay, by using this marketing calendar, it changed my life. I was able to get more, I was able to get so much more done. I was able to batch my content a month in advance. It's awesome. You know what I mean? And I'm able to travel and I don't worry about getting sick and I've got other things to pull from. So that is what people, the cold leads want to see. The next piece is for the cold leads and for the cold post of the week or cold reel, whatever you want to think about it. It's this is for them to get to know you. So they want to get to know why this topic matters to you. Why is this special to Megan Wing? What is actually making this something that's important to me? They also want to hear why this topic is valuable to me. Why am I talking about marketing? Why is this something that's important that I speak about in my podcast and in my posts and things like that? And it's also to be like in that aspirational content, it's like when you do this, this is the outcome of what happens when you implement this thing that I'm telling you about. And it gets people to know a little bit behind the scenes. It gets them to be like, oh, I can see a little bit behind the curtain. I can see that I want to be like this person. And I really enjoy the way that they're speaking in their copy to me. So that's the first piece. The next piece is those warm leads that you want them to get to know you a little. This is where they want to get to like you. Apologies. But this is where you want to be thinking about them liking you. And then the purpose of this is to nurture your clients so that they can build intrigue and really think about, okay, if this is so good, if I am looking forward to Megan's posts every week, I can't imagine what working with her for real looks like. Like I've gotten so much, I've had this comment from so many people, like I've gotten so much value for free. I can't wait to see what it looks like in real life. So definitely something that you want to be thinking about. And in this, you're going to show a tool that they could implement, a quick tool, not like, here's how to make your entire marketing calendar for the entire month. We don't want to flood people with information, but just like I'm doing here is like, I'm just speaking about, okay, here's a way you can think about copywriting that's a little bit more effective and helpful. You also can solve a specific problem for them. So it's like, when you feel this, I use this and you will feel better. That is another way that you can utilize this. You could also in here give an example of a situation with a client, but you don't want to get too into it. Like you that's more so like for the testimonials, you don't want to be like sharing too much there, but you could be like if you want to get let's say you are a career coach and you want to do a warm post, you could talk to your audience and be like, "Hey, for my warm leads, let me talk to you about 3 steps to get a promotion, 3 steps to make a career to get a bonus." Something like that that can be really helpful for your clients and they're like, "Oh, wow, I didn't realize it was so simple. If I was able to get this for free, let me think about when I work with you, what is it going to create?" You could also talk about a lesson that helped you within your journey that could be helpful. So you can think about, okay, here's a lesson I learned. Don't avoid this mistake. This is like 3 mistakes to avoid when doing X, Y, and Z. So those are some helpful hymns and hopefully prompts that can get you thinking, okay, how can I write a post this week? What's one thing that's a small tool that can help my audience a little bit more? And that's what you'll do for that post. And then last but not least, we've got those hot leads. They need the trust factor. They want to be compelled to purchase. They want to make sure that they are seeing themselves in your clients and they are actually signing up. So, this is where you want to provide social proof for your clients. You want to also, if you don't have people that you've worked with, you can talk about your personal testimonial. You can be like, I will teach you exactly what I did for me to go from 0 to 6 figures within the first 2 years of my business. My first year full time, I made 120K. This is possible for you too. You could also, for me, one of the things that I have my clients do is I include a disclaimer, but I also have them, they can do testimonial swaps where they will coach each other for 30 minutes each and then provide a testimonial for each other and say, like, if 30 minutes could change this much for me, imagine what 3 months will do with you. That is another way that you can do a testimonial. You could also have a snippet if you do a live coaching call. You could have a snippet of what it's like to work with you as this post. If you want to do something like that, let's say somebody's like, hey, I would love to work with you, but I can't pay for coaching. You can do a live coaching call, invite them on, and that can be really helpful. And you can also talk about how your audience's life would be different when the client's problem is solved and talk about how you solve that for the client and take them through their version of the client's hero's journey. So those, I want you to think about, okay, make a list of how many people you have just an inspirational story about. Some people might have even given you reviews already. Some people might have written a testimonial. And how can you share that in a way that's exciting, something that's compelling, something that people want to actually use and they want to pay you? So, what I want you to do within this next week is I want you to think about how you can talk to these different types of buyers. I want you to use this to help you with the consistency. Because a lot of times for me, when I'm inconsistent, it's because I don't have direction. And this is going to give you direction for your copywriting. So you can talk about one of those subsets in each of your posts for the week. So every week when I'm not in a launch, every first post is a cold post. Second post, warm post. Third post is a hot post. And then I'm like, okay, I just have to fill in the blank. I have to fill in what my pillar is. I have to fill in the topic, but like that's easy to do once I've got that structure. So this is going to help you to create more consistency. This is also going to be a different way you can think about your copywriting and use this system. Like if you want to take the same system I do, go for it and do those 3 posts repurposed into 3 reels a week. That helps me to stay on it on my timeline and also not burn out because it's pretty quick to do. And then I'm going to create a worksheet. This has been my new thing and I'm loving it, of the types of buyers. I'm going to give you these prompts and it'll be in the show notes, but I'm going to also include that so that you can focus on these different sales approaches, these different types of people in your audience and how to start building out your content to create that. So, this is going to be amazing for you. I hope that this was a really helpful episode where you learned a lot about like how to write your copy. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and I can't wait to see you next week.